Get a little theme music going for this. Obviously, this is. All right, welcome to Let Freedom Ring. We had to do a little bit of rescheduling. We're supposed to have Dave Kulis in studio, but some things came up, so now we've now moved it to a virtual episode. So, Coolie, glad that you can make it. Thanks for making the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for being flexible with the schedule.
Yeah, no, not a problem at all. And let's. I'm gonna get this out to my personal page as well, because we got it on the Let Freedom Ring page. Oh, hold on here. Why can't I? All right, share. All right, now it's out there. All right, so let's get to know you a little bit, Cooley. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Currently live in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. I grew up in Drake, Mass. Lived in Drake until I was 21, 22. A couple stops, one stop in Lowell, and then eventually Methuen for about 15 years, and Chelmsford for the last 6.
Awesome, awesome. So you're basically Massachusetts your whole life?
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
family and relatives. My father lives in Nashua, New Hampshire, Nashua, New Hampshire, but got the connections.
Awesome, awesome. And what are 3 things that everybody should know about you?
It's a good question. I saw that when you wrote it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can even answer that. Just number one, um, I people see pictures and everything. They see 2 boys, but I always have 3 boys, so everyone should know that. I think that's a very simple one. Um, I think that's all I really want people to know.
So,
I'm
dad
pretty
first.
dad first, pretty simple going. And again, one boy in heaven, but um, some people ask me how many kids I have. My answer's 3. So it makes some people feel uncomfortable, but it is what it is.
No, no, totally understandable. And sticking to the theme of the show, which is Let Freedom Ring, and this question means a lot of different things to, a lot of different people. But what does it mean to you to be an American?
Hmm. That is a good question. It's a easy, yeah. It could depends on who you are, but for me, it's just my freedom. Number one, it's my freedom, and number two, if you're one of those people who maybe necessarily don't believe in the military, um, just stop talking to me, man. You know what I mean? The military haters, the police, and all that. That's part of America. The freedom they protect my freedom. Um, yeah, and I don't like when people invade in my space, my country space, and do crazy stuff. So, um, part of me always wishes I went to the military when I was younger, and I didn't. I think I would have things would have turned out differently, but I went the path I went, and here I am. But to me, I wake up every day, and I'm proud to do whatever I can. I'm able to do whatever I can do for that reason, because I live in America, and I'm American, and just let me be.
No, understandable. And speaking of that, I mean, am I remember this right? You went to Plymouth State too, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah. What
Um,
year? What year did you graduate from there?
that's a good question. I haven't really finished yet. So, um,
Or when did you go? Yeah.
we're 95 to 99.
Nice.
Um, it was a good adventure, but unfortunately, I had I think one bad experience, and I was a kid and uh, young adult, I should say, but made some choices, maybe they're not the best choices, but living with those, and I'm just fine where I am.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I also went there. I was there from 2005, 2008. So definitely just love the area. I still love it to this day. I was up, up in the mountains this weekend. So,
No,
um,
I haven't been. I haven't been in years. I love the area. That was the big thing about the school. Kind of my personality. Um, Small, quaint. Um, it was a fun time while I was up there. I know it's calmed down quite a bit, but um, I love I love the town of Plymouth. So can't wait to get back.
yeah, no, no, it's amazing up there. So we want to talk. If we promote the show, you're yeah, U Trip USSA umpire. So you're around the game quite a bit. How many games do you think that you umpire per year?
Too many.
Too.
Uh, it It fluctuates. I try not to keep track. This year wasn't as much. My job changed a little bit, so the week turned to be a little tougher for me. And then the second half, the weekends kind of faded down once the big tournaments ended because, again, with work, I was working long hours, and I'm not going to a no disrespect, but a 6 to 8 team tournament when I can be with my kids, and there's plenty of other people who want to do it.
Yeah.
So don't want to steal it, um, but I do my fair share. I in the hundreds. I do my fair share of games. I don't put a number on it. I think um, if you chase a number, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? If your number's ever too high and you're bragging about it, I guarantee 20% of those games are probably not good, probably because you're tired, taking a couple shortcuts. But that's my opinion.
No, understandable. I know there was an umpire a few years back that wanted to set a record. I don't know if he set a record, but he kept track of every game they did, and I don't remember exactly how many it was.
I think it was 475, 457, but he did a ton, and even at the end, he did some of the Coby tournament, and he was still doing a good job. So, and he also did the Sea Worlds at the end too, co-ed. So I give him hats off to take.
Yeah, Tank did a good job, and I'm pretty sure that's how they came up with the name for the Bring It podcast because he used to love being like, "Bring it!" right
Yeah.
before the game. It was the first time I saw that. I was like, "Whoa! I never heard never heard an umpire do that." Um, we did want to talk about the rosters that came out too for the Challenge Cup roster. So I'm not as familiar with this. Is it so each state, or is there only certain states involved? They come up with essentially an all-star team.
I'm not 100%, completely familiar with this, but I know it is each state. I know up in New England, New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont can go together due to the fact that just the numbers are lower. And the goal is really have, I think, three, but it could be more people per team. And it's the people who can go, and it's your best people who can go. Um, and it's every state who wants to go. There's no limits. I think Ryan's in three teams: women's team, a men's E, and a men's C.
Yeah, so we have the women's. So it's a D team made up of new code players. Well, there's a lot of new code players. Oh no, Balot. I'm not sure who that is or that team. Maine Milliards, TITT. I'm not going to say that name. Ghosted and Diamond Cutters. You familiar with any of the people that made it on here?
I've seen them all play. They're all good ball players. Um, I think some of them are stand out more than others because they've been more. Uh, I'm not going to say successful. That's the wrong word, but they've progressed faster and they're played at higher levels. But they're a good team, like top to bottom. Um, they will do well, and I know they're going to have fun doing it as well. So I don't want to put any predictions or who's going to play the best, but I think they're all well deserving, and it should be a good trip for them.
Awesome. Well, shout out to my friend Mano. She's on the team. So, Mano, big shout out from Let Freedom Ring to you. Then we have the 603 men's team. I know a few of these guys. Obviously, Stevie D's the coach, Sam Borelli. We've always said a lot of good things about Sam Borelli. He's a young kid. Brandon Laporte, another young kid. I think he's only like 24. Jeff Randall, Matt Kane. So 603, very well represented. They went down to Florida. I think they took ninth overall. Um, so they did really well. They battled all year with Sandlot. Looks like we got Robbie Putnam on there. No Robbie. Ben Flanders, Kevin Smith. Three really good young ball players. The Hawks, you got Jake Landry, Rick Stones, Kyle. I can't read the name on there. And then Wolfpack, Cody Kenya. I can't read. It's hard to read the names. This is a smaller. How you feeling about this team? Do you think they got the picks right?
I do. I think this is. I don't know a ton of these people. Most of these guys I've seen in league, not so many tournaments. But what I do like is this is New Hampshire's future. if they live in New Hampshire, these are the young guys coming up. For the most part, I mean, you have your Randalls and Stevie who run it, and Putnam's been around for a little bit, but the rest of these guys, for the most part, are what New Hampshire's going to be in the next 2 or 3 years. If they want to do what others do, they can stay at the level they're at for 5 years, or this group of guys should. If this group's going back to a E Challenge Cup in the next 3 years, then shame on them. They should be higher D or better, and absolutely no, hands down.
Well, I know that Borelli and Laporte, they're definitely moving up, and again, those are two young guys, Randall and Matt Kane. Everybody on 603, I believe they have to move up at this point. So then the last one, I think. So there's only 3 teams. This is a men's C team. See, this one's hard to read.
This team I'm familiar with. I think most of my tournaments, actually all my tournaments this year, were the D level or higher. So these are the guys I saw all summer. You get Tim Robinson, you get Kevin Hill, just probably because he's doing the shirts. The only reason he's on the team. You got Corey, a Smith player from Vermont. First saw this kid this year. I'm like, ooh, kid's shorter guy, but kid can ball. Great player. And he plays anywhere. It's awesome to see. And then obviously you see the Hitman guys. I know those guys all well. Eric, third baseman, smashes. We know Blad can pitch, working on his hitting. Cody's good ball player. Pucko's Pucko. And Josh Drew's probably my favorite player this year I've learned more about. One of the 3 this year who really stuck out to me, and kid just stud. Learn more about him. One of the only guys that will not get out of the way of softball, which is pretty impressive. Bottom left, I think that's Tyler Wright, Tyler Roth, field guy. Just a couple small conversations with him, newer to this area from Connecticut, I believe. Good player. Here's my number 2 player coming up, Josh. Kid's a stud,
Josh.
dude. If he just gets with the right people,
yeah,
he's got to get with the right people, and he'll be playing bees in the next 3 years. Nope, don't even care. I said it.
Yeah, Josh, great guy too. Great teammate.
Same thing with Rand, diamond cutter dude, great ball player. I forget what tournament it was this year, but that kid was just getting beat, like diving, sliding, everything under the sun, and he just kept cuddling and going. And 9 hours later, and smile on his face. I'm like, man, that shows your age. And then bottom right, I don't know that kid. I talked to Hilly. I know where he plays, and I know who he plays with. So he's probably a good ball player if he's on this team. Play third. And then I skipped Waddy up top left. Waddy's going to be probably what this team needs when it comes to a breather or spot start. Like he's a good teammate, and I know I've watched him come up over the last few years. He's matured. I'd probably say 3 years ago I couldn't stand. No, I'm probably longer than that, but he was a little mouthy, but he's definitely matured and he understands the game, and he's respectful, and that's, as an umpire, that's what I look for. I look for different things what you guys look for. So
Awesome. Well, good luck to everybody playing the Challenge Cup. Other thing I want to say, anybody watching the show, if you do want to comment on anything that we have going on, you do have to comment on the Let Freedom Ring page. I'm not going to see the comments come through off my personal page. So if you have any comments that you want to say to me or Coolie while we're on air, just make sure that you're commenting on the actual Let Freedom Ring Facebook page. All right, well, let's get into your softball career a little bit here. How did you get involved playing?
Let's see.
It's probably many, many moons ago at this point, but
yeah, it was what? So I would have been 18. I took a semester and I came down to Northern Essex for a semester. So it would have been my sophomore year, so 2000. Played baseball. It was a fun team to play with. There's only like 11 of us, dude, just getting started back up. Our assistant coach ended up playing half the game, so it was pretty cool. And then there's a couple guys on that team that asked me at the end of the year, like, hey, any interest? So it started on Sundays in Methuen. and then it went to Sunday mornings and Sunday nights, and then I jumped on a collider with some of my. I was all ASA until about 14 years ago. So I was ASA. I wish I got into U Trip quicker because I hate ASA. I hate the height, but I had fun, and then I went to Lawrence. So then U Trip played up in Derry. So I played everywhere they had U Trip leagues for the most part.
Yeah,
So
I honestly that same thing. I don't even know what I started playing in college. I don't know what it was, but the first thing I found when I got graduated was my social sports, and I didn't find I found U Trip a couple of years after that and was like, oh, I like this a lot better. you
yeah,
know, it's but now you know what's crazy. Like when we probably were coming up, it's so easy to find what you want now because social media and softball have blown up so much that I feel like if you're paying attention, you can find a softball league that fits you.
absolutely. And there's so many of them now. Depends what kind of commitment you want, what kind of competition you want. Um, there's so many top to bottom. I mean, just in our area, you can. I mean, the level of our leagues vary in our area, so you can play whatever you want. Co-ed, Sundays, Saturday, every. Yeah, you're right. It's too much, almost to the point.
Yeah, there's a ton. Again, if you do want to comment on the show, you have to do it on the Let Freedom Ring page, not my personal. What was your favorite part of playing the game?
Winning. Um, I think it's very simple. I mean, you play to win, and you know, every league I played in, there's always that team. You know, every tournament you played in, every year you played in, and you know, for me, it was a lot of those new coat guys when I was coming up. You know, I wasn't with them; I was against them. So that was pretty interesting. And you know, some of them we played together a couple of years. So, um, but it was just that whatever. Go to the field, hang out with your buddies. You know, play some softball, have a couple of drinks, and again, win. And when you don't win, you go home and you know you do what all softball players do. You make excuses why you don't get a hit. Just admit that you stink, dude. So
There, it is much better on the drive home when you've won than when you've lost. You know.
yeah,
Uh,
and
um,
my winning came towards the end of my career, um, so it was pretty different for me. So it was cool, but you know I wasn't a young buck when I started becoming better, or you know playing with better people, I should say.
yeah, no, and sometimes I feel like too when you first start, you know it takes a couple of years. Some people never get rid of their baseball swing. Um, what is best team that you've ever played for?
Mm. Well, you know, I saw that, and you know, there's quite a few good, really good teams I play with, and um, like my son's charity tournament every year. There's always the next good team, and that's just the players around because they're there for a reason. But you know, for the full year, it had been 2011. And that was the year we were, you know, 13 stripes slash Team Coby. That was the year we finished second in the Worlds. So, you know, that was my favorite time because it was the people. It was a different. There's two groups of people that, you know, 3 years before that wanted to kill each other, and you know, because that's how we were back in the day. It wasn't go after the umpire. It was talk shit to the other people. But you know, oh, sorry for the language. I won't say that
No,
again.
that's okay. Well,
Um, but now you know the game's changed now. So, but that team was fun, and we won quite a bit. State champs. We didn't do well in nationals. I don't think we even went to nationals. Because it rained out. Um, and then, like I said, we were 6-0 going into Saturday night, and then we just ran into a Michigan team with a bunch of sandbaggers, and we didn't stand a chance. But we got to play them twice.
nice, nice. And do you have a favorite play that you've ever made and a greatest hit?
Um, I don't. I'm not a stat guy, but I think my play that I remember the most is that year in the game one. It was in the very beginning of the game, and again, I was catching at this point. I was in my 30s, and well, I'm just old and not as fast as these young guys. And they already scored three. It was only one out, and it was just a play, man on first. He was trying to score. We had no chance of getting him because he was quick, but instead it was just that cutoff play, and you throw it a second, bang out, and right from that point, the tides changed. So next batter, no one on, base out, and then we came in, we scored like seven. So for me, it was momentum play. Um, and then my favorite hit, like I always said when I was playing, is the next one. So if I ever play again, it'll be
Oh,
the
okay.
next one.
It's like a
I'm not
Tom
one of
Brady way of answering that
the.
question.
I'm just not that stat guy. I really don't care. I was more of a situational player. Like, all right, even in the worlds like that, I think our team batted only 600, but defensively and situationally, like that's what we won. And I guess that's part of the maturing part. Um, that you think differently, and you know when you have to hit it to the right side. Like you hear the people nowadays, like, "Oh, I knew what I had to do." When I played, you just did it. Um, so that's about it.
Yeah, no, good answer. Well, we do want to get into what you've been doing the last couple of years, which is an umpire. And I think you the head of the U Trip umpires for the state, or one of the heads?
One of the heads for New Hampshire, yes.
Okay.
So I was doing a signing, but that is not going to be happening next year. Um, Too much, not enough time
Yeah.
um, with my personal life and all that fun stuff. But the other stuff will still be there.
All right, awesome. Well, how'd you end up becoming an umpire?
I think it was a year after I stopped playing, so 2012. I did a couple games. I'm like, no way, I'm done. I'll rather play.
Yeah.
Played half a, played half a season. Did the same thing in 13 and jumped on a team. Played half a season, and then 14 is when I really just started doing it. Um, and I did it. Stay involved in the game. I met a lot of friends, and I fun when I'm there. I make it fun if I can. So just to be part of the game, really, because I like the game. Um, a lot of people do it for the wrong reasons. A lot of people do it for the money, and they're chasing a check. And I think that's why you get the mediocre umpires and the guys who, if they make a bad call, they don't care. And then you have other guys who, they think about it, and unfortunately, they get berated, and sometimes they're at the point too. They're like, enough, guys. But that's all right.
Yeah, some people can get a little ridiculous with arguing. Well, so I take it. So then you've been umpiring since you said 2012. So going on about 10 years then next year. Um, how should players, in your opinion, now? I find that leagues that I've played in for many, many years, and it's a lot of the same people, it's a lot of the same regular umpires. You don't have a lot of issues, at least in league. Because if you know the umpire, you're not really going to. I feel like if you know them, you act differently to somebody that you don't know. I feel like people in general are just not great to strangers. I don't know if that's a fair assessment, but um, how should players, do you believe, approach an umpire when they are questioning a call?
Just don't. I'm, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. Um, as long as it's during time and I'll talk to anyone. As long as you're not talking across the field. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? All it is a quick timeout. Can I have a minute? Not while you're screaming. And out of me, it might be like no. I might say no, but then I'm gonna laugh and I'll give you let you say your piece and then move on. Whether I agree or disagree, and I'll explain what I saw. And if it's one man, it's nothing you can really do. And then if it's two man, at least you have someone else to ask as well. So it's just about the way you do it. Don't jump up or pop up from the slide and start freaking out that he missed the tag. You missed the tag. Like, just get up and timeout. Hey, I don't think he got me. What did you say? That's it. So it
It's
can be
pretty
done.
it's pretty simple. I mean, what are people, because you said, and again, guys, anybody watching the show, if you want to comment and have your comment on the air, please go to the Let Freedom Ring page, comment there. What do you find that is the most argued thing in softball. Someone said
Strike
like,
zone.
yeah, that's what.
Strike zone.
Yeah.
So it's 3 feet from release, up to 10 feet, and up to 10 feet from the ground. It's not 3 feet from the ground to 10 feet, and every pitcher is going to think they release it in a different spot. Um, I think maybe one pitcher in the area maybe is below the knee consistently, and then you have others that flirt with it. Um, but it's always a strike zone. And sometimes it's the umpire's fault because sometimes, I mean, I've been in the game and I've seen, or I've been at a game and I've seen a pitch that's 11 and a half feet called a strike, and then a pitch that's 2.5 feet called a strike. So that's where it's tough for the players. So for me, I preach consistency. And, my thing is the first inning should be the pitcher feeling my strike zone out. And after that, he shouldn't have to ask me any questions. So
I
that's
think
my
it's a fair
opinion.
point. And I've always been from the school of swing the bat because it is slow. It's not baseball, you know, like it's
Yeah, if you're in league and it's July 25th, it's 90 degrees out, and one of your teammates tells you to take a pitch. Basically, your teammate is telling you that you're not good at softball, and they don't want you to swing. Just swing the bat, dude. It's slow pitch.
yeah.
Everyone can hit in slow pitch.
You know what's kind of crazy? And I'm not making this story up. I was playing in the church league, and that's when I just pulled my hamstring real bad. I couldn't swing a bat. I got 5 walks. I got on base every single time, took a runner, and the other team starts yelling at the pitcher. They're like, he's not gonna swing. But I kept just stepping out of the box, trying to mess with his mojo because I couldn't swing. But someone else got hurt, and I was on the bench. I was like, well, I can stand in the box, and I could probably catch. But it was true story. 5 walks, never could swing the bat. I don't know how I pulled that off, but um,
I'm pretty sure if that was me umpiring, that would have happened. I would have called one of them a strike because,
just yeah.
again, swing the bat.
Well, you know what the other thing was, I was catching and I was just schmoozing with the umpire as much as possible to make sure I was getting him on my side. So, real quick, there was a video that I think whoever shot it from Nationals, they thought it might go viral. A coach really got. Were you familiar? Did you see this video at all? Where the coach, like, to the point where I think the umpire walked out.
I've heard something about it. Just from my perspective, though, that's something I'm not going to comment on because I wasn't there. And I think they did their due diligence with that situation. But what I will say is like that's a perfect example of what can't happen. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm not going to talk about the people involved or any of that,
Yeah.
but
No. No. I don't want to use
they,
names or anything like
they're
that.
like that. Like the cliff notes of that is that there was a couple people in the wrong, and it just made for a bad situation. And I know they're both sides are sorry it happened. I know that for a fact. But as an umpire, man, like it, if you're gonna go back and forth with a player, or not go back and forth, but if you're gonna like engage in a player, just do it like and know the rules and understand the game. Like some people, I think that's an issue. Um, but yeah, that was an ugly situation.
Yeah,
Um,
and I just want to say to anybody out there, not just by what was happening there, we are living in an age where everybody has a camera on their phone at any time. So the things that you do may reflect. You may see yourself on the internet. So you really want to think about your behavior and your actions because a lot of people saw that video, So and it's hard to defend yourself. Like you said, you weren't there. So
yeah,
now everybody's just seeing this clip and they're making their own
and,
judgments to what happened.
and maybe I'm old school, but that's a problem with social media. It's like people just like number one, you shouldn't act like that, but number two, like uh, yeah, if you don't know the whole story, stay out of it. You know what I mean? I got some pushback because I utilized social media to vent about a situation at the end of this year that happened with me. Um, and I'm still hearing it, but you know what I mean. Like that's how I wanted to get across to the players. Like, listen, uh, I'm okay with exposing you because I just want it to stop. And if there's consequences, I'm a big boy. I'll handle it. Um, and hopefully, that bad situation that I was in, that video was in. We had one at the beach this year. Like, hopefully, those three bad situations. I think there's gonna be some rule changes with no tolerance, which would be great. But hopefully, we can just learn that if those happen, they're gonna be out there. People are gonna know about them, and there'll be two sides, and we'll figure out where everyone is in the middle. Um, but hopefully that helps the game next year and moving forward.
And I just want to say to everybody out there, you are responsible for your own personal behavior. And when you put yourself in a position like that and there's repercussions or people are judging you, you did that. So be an adult. That's all I can really say. Um, do you have a favorite part of being of umpiring? Because you get to see so many different players too, and different levels. And
I just like when you get to that point. When you get to that point when you're umpiring a good game and you're not part of it because you're just calling a game and there's no bitching at you. They're just going back and forth. I think this year it was early. It was Smith first. That team from out west, the Pirates. Like man, back and forth, chirpy to a level. Um, but that's what I like about the game. I like a good game. I like a well played game. I like defense. I'm not one of those. Hey, let's see how far I can hit it. Like, yeah, that's great. You can swing a bat, dude. Go do what you got to do. But like, can you make a play? I look at like a Brett Wallingford who plays with the beat and wherever he's playing next year. Like, that's who. If you're coming up, like that's who you should go after. That's who you should be like. He's all around player, but defensively he's just gross because the game's just becoming who can hit and now, if you can find five guys who can play defense, You're gonna make some noise because defense is a thing of the past, um, and that's as an umpire, I'm always looking for that play, and I see tons of them during the year. Most of the way pitchers. I think Tommy Hudon saved my life one time this year when I was behind him. But there's just in some of these plays that you see, it's like wow. And some of the guys is consistently, it's one after the other after the other. It's like, man, this kid's not getting tired. So I'm a defensive guy. I like to watch that. Um, and if you hit home run over the trees at Martell, just remember that the fence is only 280. Just that.
yeah,
290.
no,
290.
it feels good to hit a home run, but at the same time, that's not always what your team needs. Um, What's it like working with Mark Sloan and Ryan Mayotte, two former guests of Let Freedom Ring? Ryan, obviously, Sloaney's big. I think he's up there as far as important people of umpires, and obviously Ryan is the director of the state for U Trip. What's it like working with those guys?
Yeah, so Ryan's a director, and Sloaney's actually the assistant director.
Okay,
Um,
I think he might have said that on the show, but I couldn't remember.
so let's see. This is a tough one. Sloan is. Let me tell you about Sloan first. Sloan's overworked. Um, like that kid's heart is 6 o'clock, and then he's dragging the fields. He's doing whatever needs to be done. Um, they both put a ton of time in it. Working with Mark is pretty fun. I think we're both competitive. We both think we're probably good umpires. I'm better, but that's cool. And then working with Ryan, uh, I'll just tell you one story about Ryan this year. Um, Me, DJ, and I were at the Martell. It was 8:03. Ryan shows up and challenges me out in front of everyone. Why isn't the game started yet? You're late. I love Ryan to death, but I don't think Ryan's gonna be late for his own funeral. Uh, so I just kind of stopped. I looked and I'm like, wow, that really just happened. But they're both fun to work for. They don't. I don't. You call it work. I call it staying active in the game. You know what I mean? Ryan's the one who's doing all the paperwork. He's putting the teams online, and he's registering all the teams at the beginning of the year. Um, I'm the one who gets to go call a game and interact with sometimes some derelicts and sometimes some really good people. So pretty cool.
Yeah, no, both great guys. I think you guys all do a wonderful job, and it's much appreciated. I don't really have. I can honestly say, of all the umpires that I have, me playing, I think I like them all. In U-Trip. So, can you tell us a little bit about Kobe's Cure, the softball tournament that you run every year?
Kobe's cure is for spinal muscular atrophy. My first son, Kobe, born in September 27, 2010. And then right around probably like right after Thanksgiving, the very beginning of December, we found out that he had SMA. So basically, his muscles were deteriorating versus getting stronger. So we had some tough decisions to make. Um, Keep him in the hospital. We did for 3 days so we could have some time with the doctors. But it would have been, it was just a choice that we chose to take him home on a hospice. Before any blood work was done, the first Dr. King saw him. I want to say 2 minutes. Said yes, he has it. Um, so it was. I could remember every minute, step by step. So, anyways, the first year we raise money for families who are dealing with spinal muscular atrophy for medical bills, whatever they need. Um, and then over the last probably 3 years, and this year is the biggest year. It's still for families. It's still in honor of my son, and we still handle at least one family with SMA. Or should I say, a family who's experiencing something with SMA. Um, and then we help out other families. So this year we did a bunch of different things, a bunch of dinners, and just to kind of help the people who need a pick me up. And it's more of it's a way for number one me to celebrate my son, um, and number two, like that's the type of person he was. He was only on this earth for 5 months and 5 days, but he probably touched more people than I ever will. So and it just brings awareness to the disease. It's very rare, so it brings awareness, and it's a pretty cool thing to watch it how uh, it kind of develops over the years, and there's always that group of probably 10 to 12 players that never miss it. You know what I mean? They might be on different teams, but they never miss it. And it might be more than that, but I just mean from day one. And then the first 5 years it was certain teams, and then the last 5 years it's been certain other teams who are just regulars now. And the last couple of years have been 12 and 14, so some pretty big numbers. Um, my one thing is just play the game, and I won't allow any yelling at the umpires. I won't allow any unnecessary. Towards the end, a little chirping, part of the game.
Yeah,
You threaten to fight someone, you see you later, man. Like that's not the type of day it is.
no.
And people hang out and have a good time.
Yeah, I've always had a blast the years, that I've been there. I try to donate if I can't make it. Um, but absolutely great tournament, great cause. I have my koozie in the background that I got this year at the tournament. So
Yes,
um,
thanks to Josie.
yeah, I think you do an awesome job with that, and it is a great cause. We have one fan comment from Jose Torres Cologne. All he said was Dave Kulis stinks.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Jose, he's quite the character. So
yeah. He,
uh,
he's uh, he's he's made of glass too. He's usually hurt like every other month. Um, but Jose and we have fun. It's a respectful fun. Sometimes he doesn't like my calls, but that's because anything over 8 feet to him is a ball, which is not true. But I like Jose.
and all right, well, we'll get into sports a little bit right now. I mean, so we had another big moment. Well, this is from last Monday. Patriots beat the Bills. Didn't really have to throw the ball. What did he throw? Two
Three,
passes? Was it even three?
three.
Was it three? So they beat the Bills. Now the Bucks beat the Bills yesterday. Now it gives the Patriots a two-game lead in the AFC East. What are your thoughts on the Patriots right now? And are you surprised about the turn? What is it, 7 straight wins? Um, after going what, I don't know, 2-5.
Yeah, 2-4, right? Because they're 7-4.
Oh yeah, I'm
Um,
sorry. Yeah,
is it there might even be eight, whatever their record is, 8-4, right?
not 9-4 now, I believe.
9-4. Wow,
Yeah.
where am I? Let's see. For a fan, for a New England fan, football's I like my number one, but what's the difference? Like every year, it's usually the first couple of games, and then games 5, 6, and 7 is where Belichick does this thing. Unfortunately, last year you kind of limited at the quarterback position. I like Cam. He just uh, struggle with running the offense. We'll say that. I think the difference is Mac Jones can run the offense. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to do anything crazy. And the whole handing off 3 times, I think what's the saying? That's just Bill playing chess while the rest are playing checkers because he doesn't care. You hear the sport talks. Oh, what if they lost? Like they didn't lose. Um, and what's going to happen in the next game? I hope it's windy because he's going to throw 50 times. Why? Because that's what he does. And it's the same thing every year. I'm excited. Actually, I went to the last Super Bowl they won in Atlanta,
Oh
which is
wow.
pretty cool. I thought that was going to be Gronk and Brady's last game, and Gronk had to come back, prick, but that's all right. Um, but yeah, so a little unexpected, but I think with Jones slipping down, like that's who he wanted. He didn't want that. He didn't want those other guys, and he fits the profile for what Belichick and McDaniels wants to do. So I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to make it, but they're going to make it interesting, which is going to be great.
Yeah, and I mean that's all you can really want after last year going 7 and
After
9.
last year, yes.
Um, I do want to make a correct statement. Mark Sloan said on this show that Matthew Judon's contract was a 1 year deal. I just want to correct that. It's a 4 year deal. I didn't catch that in the moment. So, Sloaney, just want to let you know that. Mac Jones still, do you think he could still win Rookie of the Year after that game? All the sports pundits have all been like, oh, there it goes out the window. To me, I don't think it should, but
He'll be fine because they're going to finish number one. And if they're going to lose one more game, so what's going to be 12-5, and he's going to win Rookie of the Year. That one game is not going to. It's yeah. That won't make a difference in my opinion.
Reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you want your comment to be said on the show, I know I shared it on my personal page, but you have to go to the Let Freedom Ring page to have your comments to interact during the show. I think that's the
That's
seventh
right.
time I've said that, but baseball lockout. Does this shock you at all, or any take on this? It's obviously plenty of time before the season starts again, but 94 almost killed baseball. Obviously, the steroid guys brought it back. Is baseball in danger here?
Baseball's been in danger for a few years now. Um, yeah, unfortunately, that game is uh, probably the most greediest guys you have, and I love the sport. Um, yeah, if they don't. If they miss any part of the year, it's going to be very tough for them to bounce back. And I mean even a game, or even if they don't February, whatever that report date is, if they miss that, and I know they're going to, it's going to be very hard for them to come back. That's just my opinion. But I haven't paid a ton of attention to baseball. The games are too long. When you're a dad of 2 kids under 10, 3 hours, 3.5 hours to watch a Red Sox game is a little tough. So it's normally the last couple innings. But again, this year they surprised us, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean the game is pretty long, and yeah, like you said, if you're bringing kids to the stadium, that's a
And
long day for them.
all they do is whine too, like why they lost. It's like, so what? Like move on with it. Like it's a hard game. You have to be good. We all know that. Um, but some of the players is part of the problem as well. We need more. We need more Freddie Freemans in the world. Uh, the guys who laugh and have fun, and the Braves, those young guys who are out there laughing, and like those are the guys that are going to keep the game or save the game. Um, and all that miscellaneous crap with your Apple Watch and banging a garbage. Like,
Oh my gosh.
come on,
Yeah.
man, it's not worth it. But
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely could be dangerous for them, but it's just billionaires arguing with millionaires at the end of the day.
true, true.
Um, what are your favorite sports moments through the years? I mean, we've had a lot here in New England.
Um, Interesting. My favorite, probably going to the Super Bowl in 2019. That was pretty cool. Everyone was like, "Oh, such a boring game," but when you're there, you're on the edge of your seat.
Oh yeah.
Um, uh, and I've been to, I think, the past six AFC championships with the Patriots in it. So I've been very fortunate to have the right people where I can find tickets available that I don't have to take out a second mortgage. Um, um, so professional sports, really, I just go with those. I'm
Yeah.
kind of boring, but that's all right.
No, no. I mean, it is. I mean, there's moments too when you're there. I mean, I'll never forget when I was there when Poppy was like, "This is our bleeping city."
Yeah,
I'll always have that. I want I impact a lot of people, but being there when it actually happened was like, I can't believe you just did that. That
yeah,
was the day that I said, "This is." I love Tom Brady, but Ortiz means more to this area, I believe, than anybody else.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think that comment is still true to this day.
And David Ortiz, I guess, getting divorced. So we're thinking of you, David.
Yeah.
Uh, got some pop culture top fives for you. We want to kind of know what you're into. What are your top five favorite movies?
Yeah, I don't watch enough movies to have a top five, but
Even a
five,
top two or one?
I like to. I'm a. Oh my god! I just had a brain fart. I like The Departed. I like all those movies that are tied somewhat to the city of Boston. Um, what's the other one? Not The Departed. What's the other one? The Bank Robbers with Ben Affleck.
Oh my goodness, I can't think of that right now. Someone's gonna comment, and they'll probably comment on my page and not on the other one, so I can't see it. The
Perfect.
Town.
The Town. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, that's really it. Again, but I like everything. That's my problem in my life. I don't like one thing more than the other. I kind of just um, my kids right now. I watch any Disney movie. Let's go. I'm in.
Just speaking of Boston movies, did you enjoy Fever Pitch, the Jimmy Fallon movie when the Red
I
Sox
did.
won the World Series?
I when it first came out, I thought it was corny. But the older I get, the more I enjoy it. The more I know the landmarks and that, like I enjoy it more now than I did when it first came out. I think that's fair.
I do like the Farrelly brothers. I've always been a fan of their movies.
Yeah.
Do you have any TV shows that you're watching, or shows that you've always loved?
I've always watched the NCIS, LA, and the original one. They're starting to change it now, so love the Blacklist. CSI was one of my favorites, and now at Netflix, love Narcos. Homeland on HBO. That was one of my favorite. Carrie Matthews. Man, if I could be the male version of her, that'd be pretty cool. Um, uh, what else for TV shows? I think that's about it. The Ozark. I just can't wait for some of these shows to come back. Money Heist was actually tough because of the whole language, but that's actually a really good show. I enjoyed that show quite a bit.
Awesome, awesome. And do you have a top five musical artist?
I'm a Dave Matthews guy. I'll leave it at that. But
Ah,
I like all music. As I get older, unfortunately, it's going more to the countryside because you just kind of relate to the music and you also understand the words. But at the end of the day, I think I've seen Dave Matthews about 35 times.
oh
It's been
wow.
it's been about 2 years, so it's been a little stretch for me. But with COVID, it's what can you do? But his music is what from when I was young to now is kind of what sometimes gets me through day to day.
Yeah, I know. Dave Matthews. I mean, that comes out what probably when you're at the maybe in college and high because they came out in like '97, I believe. And no, that's not right. '95.
Probably 94, 95 is when he started
Yeah.
when it started popping out. Yeah,
And Crash came out in 07. That's no 97. I remember that.
It was,
Great
I was
band.
in the basement of 55 Langdon Road up in Plymouth on the first day Matthew Stone I heard.
That was a very big party street, from what I remember. I don't even know what it's
Yes.
like there anymore, but all right, we're gonna get to my favorite segment of the show, which is blank versus blank. I'm gonna give you two things, two anythings. You gotta pick one and tell me why. First one. You asked this a lot. Two pretty big stars. Michael, would you rather listen to Michael Jackson or Prince?
Michael Jackson or Prince. Ugh, either way, I'm screwed on this one.
You
I'm
gotta
more of a
pick,
Michael
pick
Jackson.
one.
I'm Michael Jackson. I'll go with Michael Jackson. He's more of the, when I was a kid, the Thriller and that type of thing. So I do not approve of anything that guy did in his life, but he was a good singer.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's separating the entertainer from the real
Yes,
person.
exactly. Yes.
Um, all right, now here's the tough one, and we ask everybody this. This is one of the toughest questions, but it has to be answered here. Who is more responsible for the 20 years of the success of the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady?
Bill, Belichick or Brady. That's funny one. And I have to pick one. Sorry, I got to go with Belichick because he's the brains, and not everyone that they want pretty. Um, uh, you know, don't get me wrong; it's so damn close. Sorry, it's the margin is so slim, but unfortunately, Tom Brady didn't stop anyone's offense. He didn't shut down the Rams that year, fastest team on turf. Like, he did what he had to do. He was given a good game plan, and that's what Belichick does, man. That's what I like about him.
I mean, he's buying the groceries. He got the deal that Parcells wanted,
Yeah,
and he puts. I mean, he puts together the teams. We've had a lot of like people that are not fans of the Patriots come on the show, and they always go with Brady. They're like, "Well, he won the Super Bowl last year." I'm like, on a stacked team, and we had nothing. Like, I just loved how everybody quit on Belichick after one season. Like, he's not this smart coach, and it's like you can't judge that
well, you
after one
got
year.
Well, unfortunately, we live in that world that everyone gets a trophy world. So, who do you hear more about? Tom Brady. Who's on commercials? Tom Brady. Who whatever Tom Brady does with his. You don't hear about Belichick, and he doesn't want to be heard about. And he's the reason. Sorry, fellas. Well,
Would you rather watch a horror movie or a comedy?
hmm, I would go comedy. There's just some good ones out there. Anything with Will Ferrell is great. Uh, Yeah, I would go with comedy by far. Yes, hands down by far. Yes,
You're at the field. Someone offers you a drink. They offer you a White Claw or Bud Light. What are you taking?
Bud Light. Sorry, again, that's the yeah. The White Claw's the 2022 people.
Yeah. um, would you rather chew gum or eat seeds? If while
Gum,
you're umpiring, gum.
gum. Yes, it has to be gum for me. I chewed tobacco for 20 years. Quit almost a year ago. So I'm a gum guy. Can't be the seeds. Has to be gum.
Good answer. Yeah, I have a huge sunflower seed addiction. I've also chewed tobacco. I've quit, done it again, quit. I think I'm at like 2 years now, but there was a span where I hadn't touched it in like 6 years. So
Nice.
when you think of New Hampshire tournament teams, who do you think should really come to mind first? If Bad Beat, which is a men's team, or a team that I think they both just retired. I think this is why I have this in here, or TITTS. Um, which team should come to mind first when thinking New Hampshire? And they are a co-ed team. Throw it to third,
Yeah,
I should say.
they're at the third. Honestly, I think they both would, and I think Pucko and his, what he's done with that co-ed team is pretty impressive. Um, and I think the funnest thing about that co-ed team is that I don't think I ever heard a peep umpire in any of their games. They make fun of each other. They have fun. They laugh. They smile. It's really refreshing watching them play the game. Sad that they're not going to be, but they move on. And the beat is everyone knows the beat because they're the only B team in New Hampshire. Um, I wish they had. I wish their core of guys had um, more people to choose from. I mean, I think they just had some gaps, unfortunately, and that's why they were good. Um, they just couldn't get over that hump, and I just think no disrespect to any of the players on that team, but their bench wasn't deep enough. Um, and but they also did a lot of special things throughout the years, winning East, and just the progress that they made is special because I mean, how many teams stay in the lower levels for years, right? Like so many now, and that team really never did, and they just went better. And now they're up to B, and unfortunately now they broke up. That kind of handcuffs some of them because
Oh, they
some
can't.
of
There's
them
nowhere
aren't.
for them to go.
Yeah, yeah, and they're not B players. Some of them just aren't B players. So a really strong C team is not going to be like, ugh, I'm going to use a B spot on you. No. But there's also going to be some C teams and potentially B teams or higher that are going to really benefit from them breaking up. Same thing with the co-ed side too. So
Is there more
hopefully
C
local
teams
teams.
in? Is there more C teams in Massachusetts? You know if that is. I know they're a bigger state, so I wasn't sure if
Yeah, there's a
they
lot
might
more
have
C
high.
teams. There's a
Yeah.
lot more C teams in Mass. B teams is very few B teams. It was always this year was always I think Platinum Fire and then the B and then teams from New York and a couple from Rhode Island, maybe one. So it's tough. It's tough to this area because you don't play year round like everyone else does. You play indoor, but it's not the same.
No.
You're not hitting off in that, fellas.
No,
So
it's definitely not the same.
no.
Um, if you're umpire game, who would you rather deal with? Jen Spilos, I can never say Jen's name right, or Max Vignola.
Uh, well, yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to say Max, and Max knows that he stinks at pitching. Um, no, I'm just kidding. He's gotten better. He just can't throw strikes. And Jen's Jen. She actually got mad at me this year in the championship, which she just couldn't find a plate. And again, that was my fault. And so, but I would rather listen to Max because sometimes Jen can be a little rough around the edges. We'll leave it at that.
Good answer. If you had to umpire a league in Nashua, would you rather umpire the Tuesday Thursday Nashua League, or the Monday Wednesday Nashua League?
I think I would rather just probably stay home and watch TV. Um, but I was always a Monday Wednesday guy because it fit my life. So
Okay.
I only really filled in on the Tuesday Nashville, which is really the same guys plus a few. Um, so I'd probably say Monday Wednesday because like I know those guys. I know all six teams that are left there, and I just know the whole team and the body of work more than Tuesday Thursday.
There is a rumor of a potential merger there,
They
or
should just do it. Like they should do it. Like number one, they should be a merger. Number two, they should think about how they. I think everyone needs to go into 22 and think about how they run things. What can they do differently? How can they make it better? And there's some leagues that I think National Tuesday Thursday is one of them that for 20 years they've been playing the championship. 5 out of 7, potentially 7 nights. No one wants to do that anymore. Play 2 nights a game. Like um, mix in a different rule here and there. It's just that the game is kind of stale. Like figure something out. Add a quirky rule to your league. Start a man at second in extra innings, or just try to do something different. And that will help that would help all leagues. I love Tuesday and Monday. If they combined, that would be a pretty cool league to see where people land. I think it'd be more competitive and it'd be interesting to see.
and I would had explained to people about this, about some teams jumping over. It has to say Tuesday, Thursday, though, if they do merge, because now Merrimack has become so popular that the reason I think Monday, Wednesday is dipped is because people want to go play in Merrimack. So why try to compete with those nights of the week? Be the Tuesday, Thursday league and be the alternative to that. Um, I would love to see that become a draft league too. I know that's probably a lot of work to make that happen, um, but I would love it. But yeah, I gotta say Merrimack has the stranglehold now in the area on Monday, Wednesday, especially and they
and
picked up a lot in the COVID time.
but they did, and they played. And here's another thing about that Merrimack. And yes, all the talented players play in it, but there's also a lot of just regular guys that play in it, that played in it, and that's what makes the draft pot. Like the team that won it last year, no one gave them a chance to win it. And I umpired the games in the finals, and they were just on, and they played the game small ball. And Tommy Hudon was, vintage 2015, and it was pretty cool to watch. But that is the biggest difference with that league is night in and night out. You don't have no idea who's going to win. In the other leagues, like Monday, Wednesdays, if I had Matthews, man, I had a 45-minute game because they were going to run rule people.
Yeah.
But in there, you don't really have that. So
It gets to be the point too with a lot of leagues. Like, what is the point? Like, if you can manage to do something like a draft, what is the point of not sharing the wealth or just stacking teams? It's like, okay, what really is the purpose? You know,
yeah,
I don't know.
the only team that that Matthews team that I just mentioned, uh, they're good, but they're also just a bunch of dudes that like know each other through family.
Yeah.
They work together and they just stayed together. They pick up one or two guys come in and out maybe every 2 years, but you don't see that anymore. It's hey, who has the best team, or who has a pink shirt? I want to wear a pink shirt this summer. Uh, it's just there's so many different things, and I'm going to play with these guys, and one team loads up and it hurts the rest of the team. Like just stay where you are, and try to become better, and or just quit.
I will say in those leagues when there is an upset, it does make it a little more fun. Like the year Thunder Buddies upset at Matthews. This year, we've been the Raccoons. We're new power this year. Kung Fury's been trying to beat us for years. They finally did. I think it makes those moments bigger, but it'd be cool to be consistent on spreading people out,
Yeah.
you know.
In
So
that year, the only reason that Matthews lost is because Max was so bad at pitching that they just couldn't figure it out. It wasn't that he pitched a good game; it was just they didn't hit because how bad it was, so they had to swing because they were getting bored.
I will say I took some time off from because I work nights those days, which is why I can only play Tuesday, Thursdays. But I was taking some time off because the series was that much fun. And then I didn't actually think the Thunder Buddies, I was like, can they actually do this? And then when they did, it was just, I know those guys were super pumped.
Yeah,
Um,
did you hear about the fireworks after?
I was already home in bed, and then I'm like, sometimes scroll through Facebook, like as you go, and then all of a sudden I'm like, people are going to war. The two team, some kind of argument about. I do remember that, and
Yeah,
then it turned into an argument about the game, and I'm like, all right, guys, go to bed. You
that was so
know?
great. I was there for most of it, so it was pretty cool just to sit in the middle and just instigate, antagonize, drop a couple, and just walk away and see what happens.
I mean, I guess my one request to everybody: please don't shoot fireworks off at you, Dickie. It's just going to cause issues, and the fact the police leave us alone for the most part, let's not give them a reason not to. Uh,
You have no idea how good you have it over there because once
yeah.
they start coming, it all goes away. So
I mean, we had one time where I was like, "We're league's gonna be in trouble." We had someone literally shoot off a firework, and it went into the BAE league because they would use that field. We'd play on the far one, then hang out in the parking lot. Shoots went off, goes right into a group of them, and then they're upset. And the person who set it off, I'm not going to use names, goes, "Oh, guys, just chill out." It's like you just hit him with a firework, dude. They could have been hurt. So yeah, let's not do that. All right, last one, toughest one, blank versus
ready,
blank. You can only keep one. Mark Sloan or Ryan Mayotte.
I'll just go on my
And
own.
And I did give this one to Ryan. Well, I gave you and Sloaney to Ryan. So
Yeah,
um,
I know Swanee would have to pick Ryan, but I'd probably just go on my own at that point.
just let them both go, and he'll take care of
I just
it.
go on my own, and they both offer. They're definitely two different people. Um, and they both offer different things. So um, we'll leave it at that. Ryan can make more decisions, so I guess I'll pick Ryan.
I mean, he's the director. He's got to make the tough
Yeah,
decisions, you know.
I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
But anyways, Cooley, I appreciate coming on. I appreciate you, being flexible. I know you got a lot going on right now, so I was really glad to still get you on the show. Love to have you back sometime. So yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll end on this. If there's anyone interested in umpire in 2022, um, please reach out to me. Send me a message. We can chit chat a little bit. The umpires meeting is March 12th. It's in Rhode Island this year. Um, it's like $40 to watch. Go to it. You might get confused, but still go to it. It's worth it. The two guys that run it are phenomenal. And then also that night, Richie and Steve Ormond are getting recognized by U Trip. I think Ormond's going into the Hall of Fame, and Richie's getting recognized for like a lifetime achievement. Goes to show how old he is, but also two good guys who, um, it's almost like that torch getting passed from Richie down to whoever else is coming in next. So it's pretty cool to work with Richie. Awesome guy. Um, March 12th, 2022. And if you're interested, let me know.
Yeah, definitely. We always need umpires, so definitely hit up Cooley if you're interested. Tomorrow we're gonna have Kendall Reyes in studio. This has been a big week. We got a lot going on this week on Let Freedom Ring, so be on the lookout for that episode. But again, Cooley, I really appreciate it. Everybody out there, have a good night. Keep your heads up. Until next time, Let Freedom Ring.
See you. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you.